You're listening to the SEO Mindset podcast. Now, we are not your typical how to do SEO podcast. No, we are not. With the help of our guests, we cover those all-important topics around career development, personal growth, and mental health for those working in the SEO industry. You got to be working on your own internal algorithm. Like what we did there. So if you like the sound of our podcast and you think this is a bit of me, shall we crack on with this week's episode? Hello, you wonderful, wonderful humans, and welcome to another episode of the SEO Mindset podcast, where your hosts are myself, Sarah McDowell, and the ever so fabulous Zen Queen that is, of course, Tazmin Suleman, with episodes going out every single Thursday. This week on the podcast, we have our dear friend, Jack Chambers-Ward, joining us for the podcast. And the reason we've invited Jack, well, he's a dear friend and we love inviting him on because he's so wise, knowledgeable, and it's just great to chat to him. But there is a special reason, and that is the live podcast is back. So the night before Brighton SEO, the Search with Candour and the SEO Mindset podcast are collaborating again to record a podcast in front of a live audience. It's going to be the 6th time we're doing this, which is really, really fun. So we are talking all about that. We're also talking about the topic. So the topic of the live podcast is all about how social health is key to career success. So that's the topic of the live podcast. So we talked to Jack on this podcast episode about an element of that. So we're talking about your circle. So the people that you have in your inner circle and why they're so important, and the types of people that we need to have in that circle. Now, listen to this episode. It's a great conversation with Jack. It always is. And yeah, listen to the full episode and learn more about the live podcast, learn more about the topic. And yes, just as a little urge here, I'm going with it. Our podcasts have sold out in the past. The live podcast has sold out in the past, and we've ended up with people on the waiting list. So act now. You can grab your tickets by going to Eventbrite. So there'll be a link in the show notes to do that. So if I've already sold it to you and you don't need to listen to the full episode, head on over to the show notes to secure that ticket, because you don't want fear of missing out. Okay, that's enough from me, I reckon. I'm very excited to play this episode for you because, yeah, it was such a lovely conversation. So I really, really hope that you enjoy. So, Tazmin, we have a special guest joining us today, don't we?
It's our buddy, Jack.
I'm the official buddy of the SEO Mindset podcast. I appreciate that.
I love Tazmin's face just seemed to light up when she was like, our buddy Jack, because you are our buddy Jack.
Thank you,
To
guys.
think
I appreciate
I'm
it.
scared of him.
I know, right? You're the scariest one of the three of us, Tazmin, by far. Smallest but
Fine, I
mightiest.
can take that.
You did tell me that I was bossy this morning.
There you
I
go.
know.
I know I'm by far the biggest of us, but maybe the least intimidating. I don't know. Well, I am training for an MMA fight, so maybe I'll be a bit more intimidating in a few weeks.
How many bruises have you got today? Are you achy?
I've not trained this week because at time of recording, I've just been at MozCon London 2025, which is very cool. If you're watching on video, if this is in the clips, I'm wearing a t-shirt. Roger is lurking behind me somewhere, the MozCon robot. And
nice.
Yeah, it's been a cool thing. Obviously, getting ready for Brighton, which is very exciting, very scary. I know we're all speaking and we're doing a live podcast as well, right? Which is very exciting.
Well, you've very professionally segued us in there. So the reason you are joining us is because we love to have you on the podcast, Jack, of course, but we are back with the live podcast. So this will be our 6th one. Isn't that incredible? 6 live
Crazy.
podcasts. And yeah, it's become part of the tradition, I would say, of Brighton
That's
SEO.
not us just saying that. Other people have told us that, for the record. That's feedback from attendees and not just us tooting our own horn.
And what's lovely is that the last events have sold out as well.
Yeah, it's been mad. Like, I know there's been a lot of I think demand, and then also we exceed our own limits in order to fit more people in, and we have to negotiate with the venue to fit more people in and all this kind of stuff. It's been really amazing, and I think it's been a nice part that is, like you said, the tradition of Brighton SEO now, the 6th one. I've only missed one, which I still feel guilty about, and you guys still don't let me live down. But I think it's really an amazing part of Brighton and the experience, right?
Definitely. And can we say, so friend of both of our podcasts, the lovely Matt Coley, said a cracking quote, didn't he? When he was trying to get tickets for the one in April. What did he say? I
believe the exact quote was, "Core, that was like Glastonbury, man." to quote Matt, because we had sold out of tickets, and then I was trying to coordinate a couple of friends to get in, but people, we sent out as any good event host does, you send out that email of like, oh, by the way, if you can't come, please cancel your ticket. We won't be offended. Please let us know if you can't make it, so you can make space for people on the waiting list. Because, as we said, we sold out, and we had a waiting list of 30 people at one point.
We did.
So I messaged, Matt was texting me, being like, oh yeah, me and a couple of other people are planning to come in. And I was like, mate, we're sold out. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to big league you. I know you've been on the podcast twice. I'm so sorry. And then eventually he was able to the thing you have to do on Ticketmaster, where you refresh the page over and over again until you find a ticket. That's apparently what they were doing, and they managed to get in. So yeah, it's like getting tickets for Glastonbury or Beyonce or Lady Gaga or whatever. It's a big deal. We don't have the dynamic pricing of Ticketmaster, though. Don't worry. It is always just free. And you can choose to pay if you want, but we don't add admin fees and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry.
So that is the reason we are all together today, because we are excited and we wanted to let you guys all know that we are back. And yeah, the details, Tazmin, what are the details for people?
Wednesday, the 22nd of October at Projects. The lanes.
Nearly wrong.
7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And the title? What is the title?
Gosh, it is all about social health.
Social health is the key to career success.
Key to career success. And it's something that you wouldn't associate with career success, would it? My social life is going to impact my career.
So before we get into the topic, because yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode, just want to remind people that if you're fancying the live podcast and you want to get tickets, head on over to the show notes, because there will be a link to do that, or wherever this is posted, it might be posted elsewhere, somewhere around our face as well. There might be the link. You know how this works. So point it all around your faces, gang. So yeah, go and get your tickets to avoid disappointment, because we do have a capacity. We need to go bigger. We need a bigger venue, and maybe that's in the pipeline. Who knows?
Maybe just maybe we'll be planning that for next year. Who knows? Maybe, fingers crossed. Stay tuned.
But there is a capacity, and we do push it to the limit. So yeah, if you're wanting to come, you missed out last time, or you came last time and you really want to come again, really do get your tickets, secure it now, and then you don't have to worry. So go and sort that out now. It's free.
They're out now.
And drinks, food, snacks, all of that is included. So guys, let's talk about the topic. And I suppose the first question is, why? So I'm going to go to Tazmin first. Why did we pick social health? Why are we talking about social health and its impact on career?
I think when people want to progress their career, they think about their professional growth, things that they're going to learn. That's like the first thing that they'll go, okay, I'm going to do this course, I'm going to go and shadow this person. But then when it comes to really elevating what that looks like, people tend to look at mindset, so your mental health, if you like, your mental capacity, and your physical. So if you're stronger and you look after your nutrition and you run around the field, you're going to be more energized to be able to go and do all of that extra learning and extra career progression. And also if you look after your mindset and perspective and all of that good stuff, those are two very common things that people will focus on when they're talking about career development. But I was doing my TED Talk binge, which I do every now and there was this woman who was saying social health, and her angle was with um with physical health. People know they have numbers, they have a method, 10,000 steps, or eat five pieces of fruit and veg a day. You get that, you know how to do it. With the mindset is okay. I will walk outside, I will spend time reading, I will meditate. They know how to do that. But where is the rule book on how to be social? And
Mm.
how does that? And what she was saying is that actually has an impact on how you are going to be as an individual, how much you're going to be able to learn, how much you're going to be able to engage with progression, and it has a huge impact. So that's why we're talking about it.
Jack, how would you answer the question? Why were you drawn to this topic?
So I think it's been a key part of my career path in many ways. I know I talked about this in the personal brand, the last live we did. There's been a lot of elements of bringing in my passions, hobbies, friends, family, all that kind of stuff into the professional side of things. And tying those two together actually helped me better understand myself as a professional and as a person. And social health for me is that kind of understanding of where you belong and where you feel comfortable and what brings you energy and all this kind of stuff. I think one of the things I said that kind of sparked the topic for you guys was that, are you in with the right crowd kind of thing, right? Like I've, not to speak ill of previous employers or anything like that, but my previous agency before joining Canada was not my vibe at all. And it was very much, sort of closed off and, we don't go to conferences, we don't share our secrets with the other industries, as if they have the magic SEO formula that's going to fix everything. Like that makes any sense. Actually being collaborative and, what I've been doing since I've joined Canada, collaborating with you guys, doing live podcasts, going to conferences, all this kind of stuff. I would say, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, the three of us are actual friends now, not just podcast co-hosts. And there's a real nice kind of way of combining those two things. And obviously there's still professional barriers and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying, everyone needs to be your best mate all the time, but I think there's a real nice balance there and an element of, actually working with people you like. And that can happen for clients as well, right? It expands out into that professional network quite quickly as soon as I start thinking about it.
I think so. It's really interesting hearing you guys talk about why this topic is important to you and what drew you to this topic and why we're doing this. And I think something that I just want to say to your point about, Jack, about your boundaries, and when you're talking about social health, it is up to you. There is no rule book on this. You can decide what those relationships are, how they look. It's all up to you. And you've got to have boundaries, and I'm sure that is something that we'll touch upon on the night. But one of the reasons why I was drawn to this topic was because of loneliness. Now, this is interesting because I remember when we first sort of spoke about this, Tazmin, you were quite honest and were like, well, I've never felt lonely. That's never been a thing. But actually, when we were talking about it and thinking about it, I think and not to like dampen the mood here, but if we all, and listeners too, if we all just have a think and reflect about times where we have felt lonely, because even if we're surrounded by people, you can still feel lonely. And how that shows up is that maybe in your company, you're the only person who works in SEO. The department's not that big. That's how you might feel lonely. Or there might be a team. You might be part of a team, but you might feel lonely because you don't get the in jokes or the banter, or there's not like common values or hobbies and things like that. Like, loneliness can show up in so many ways, and that is why social health it's not a nice to have, it's essential. It underpins everything of career, because if I look back and see where I am now, the whole reason I am in the place that I am, where I'm freelancing, I'm doing my own thing, I'm a podcast producer, I've got my own studio, I'm doing exciting projects like the live podcast with you guys, speaking things. All of these exciting projects have come from connections. It's from finding people that are like me, and also being very aware of people that build me up and want me to be a better version of myself, and people that I really vibe and click with.
Yeah, I think there's an element there of finding who you click with in many ways. I find myself doing that in a social situation as much as I do in a professional situation. And for me, there's a lot of the, like you said, the loneliness earlier, Sarah. Like, if you're, take me at my previous agency, for example, like there were a lot of other people. There was 6 people in the digital department. Bear in mind, that's SEO and PPC and other digital marketing bits and pieces. There's even a couple of designers in there as well. But that's not a million miles away from the size of the digital marketing team at Canada in a similar kind of way. But I just wasn't connecting with them in the same way. My values, like you said, the banter, tiny little things like that. For example, like you will find yourself in an office where they make off-color jokes, sexist jokes or whatever and all that kind of stuff. Very common, unfortunately, with groups of men. And I am a bit too lefty liberal, woke snowflakey type lovely person to be dealing with that kind of thing. And when that happened in previous offices I've worked in, I'm like, oh yeah, I am not comfortable with this. I am not joining in with this. And that almost makes you dread going into the office in the future. That makes it a energy draining experience rather than, oh, I can't wait to chat with my colleagues and hang out with Sarah and Tazmin on the podcast and do all this kind of stuff. It ends up being a like, oh God, yeah, I've got to deal with that guy's terrible jokes, and he was nasty to a client the other day, and oh, that was uncomfortable. And you then have that kind of weight on you, right? As soon as it's present in that space. And for me, it's that kind of give and take of what gives you energy, what takes away energy, what energizes you and motivates you. Like like I said, just coming back from MozCon, I feel very energized and inspired, as I often do after conferences, to be like, I want to try this thing with my clients, or do this thing, or, I learned this from this speaker or whatever. Or if you have a lot of social anxiety, I know you guys have talked about that on the podcast before, you can have that issue of going to a conference is really draining and I really have to put a lot of effort in, and it can be a whole, I need 2 or 3 days to recover kind of thing. And you don't have to be one or the other. Completely depend on your mood and things like that. And I think, again, speaking from a male experience, which I know I've done on the show before, being the token guy as the third guest here, the third host, there's that epidemic of loneliness that is happening in young men at the moment as well. I know that's a whole other topic. We don't have the time to explore. But even like the Netflix show Adolescence and all the kind of like issues young men are seeing with loneliness and things like that at the moment, being able to talk about that and being aware of it and conscious of it, I think is such a good first step in not falling down into those traps and into those pitfalls in many ways. Because I think it can be the easier path is to get sucked in and just go with the flow and end up with the wrong crowd, right? And I think it can take effort to push yourself to be like, no, I want to be better. I want to be with the right people.
Exactly. Right. We are at our halfway point, so I am going to take us for a short break, give listeners a chance to consume the information, reflect, all of that lovely stuff. But please do join us for part 2. You probably already recognise this voice, but Sarah here. Are you enjoying what me and Tazmin are doing and fancy supporting the podcast? Well, it just so happens that you can. Now, for the same price as a Starbucks, Costa, or your favourite coffee shop coffee, you can give us a one-off tip or a monthly donation. If you fancy doing that, follow the link in the show notes. Why not also help us share the podcast? Get the word out there. Share us with your friends, colleagues, family, anyone who you think would benefit from our podcast.
Hi, Tazmin here. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Be more visible, earn more, but also take care of your well-being and have work-life harmony? Well, I can help you because I'm offering you a free 30-minute consultancy call. Together we can go through where you want to be and how to get there. Simply click on the link in the show notes, fill in a form, and I'll get back to you.
We are back for part 2. Tazmin and Jack, are you still there?
We are.
We are indeed.
No one has left the building. Okay, so we have given our listeners the exciting news that the live podcast is back. We have talked about the title of the live podcast, which is Social Health is Key, Essential to Career Success. So now I think a good place is to spend some time talking about your circle. Yeah. So your circle is part of this conversation, isn't it? Being really aware of what your circle is, who is in your circle, and why that's important. So, Tazmin, kick us off.
So I just want to segue into what you said earlier, how I'd never felt lonely. When you and I first started this conversation, I said, oh, but Sarah, I've never felt lonely. And when I reflected on that, I think a big part of it is strong family network and strong community network. And what that gives me, what that circle gives me, is my safe space, place where I can just be me. And that gives me, it sort of lowers the risk of me taking risks. So it means that, so for example, pivoting your career at 54 isn't something that every second person that you meet does. And to go from a very techie background to going into coaching and podcasting, that, when I say it, if somebody else said that to me, I think, oh, wow. I sometimes diminish the impact that, the effort that took. But I was able to do it because I have a supportive husband. I have children who are encouraging. I have a family where I can just be me. However, what I didn't realize until we'd had that conversation is as a person who's by and large working on their own, I feel isolated. So I wouldn't quite say the word lonely because that lonely makes me feel like I must feel sad, and I don't feel sad, but I do feel isolated. I don't have, I've had to make an effort to add to my circle, my already wonderful, caring, supportive, nurturing circle, people who will help me grow, people who will show me a different world, like you and Jack. Did I ever think I would be a podcaster in my 50s? Absolutely not. But you've shown me that, oh, there is this other world where you can have a voice and you can have impact. So that's been really important. So I think it's a combination of the two.
I want to just quickly build on what you said there about building on your circle. And when you're building on your circle, being intentional with who you are bringing in, because I have also, I think, if I look back into growing up and then going to uni and like all the different circles and people that I was around, they supported me when I was in that sort of step of my life sort of thing. So being at school, then going to high school, then going to university, then getting my first job and all of that stuff. But if I look now, so I am mid-30s, I need different people in my circles, in my community, that's different to when I was like early teenagers or mid-20s. And actually, I subconsciously have been adding other people into my circle to help build me and push me out of my comfort zone or do exciting projects. So I'm really thankful for you guys, Jack and Tazmin, that you are part of my circle, because what we've created with the live podcast, right, that's really exciting, and we push each other and we support one another, and you really need to be intentional with who is in your circle. So not just intentional on who is toxic and who isn't, who builds you up and who doesn't, but also being intentional about, okay, who's going to help me grow? Who's going to help me develop? Who's going to, if I've got this idea, rather than not getting it and being like, what you on about, Sarah? Actually be like, yes, do that. And here's some ideas to do it. So it is so important. Your circle is so, so important.
Yeah.
What's it saying, that you're the average of the 5 people around you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to say about that, because as much as I joked about, I'm the token guy here, right? Like, if you put the 3 of us on paper, I assume most people would assume that we are not friends by default, right? We are from different backgrounds, different genders, different sexualities, different religions, different all kinds of different stuff, right? And for me, that lets me learn new things. Like, I feel like I'm always learning new things about you guys. It helps broaden my horizons, both professionally and personally. We have all had new opportunities because we have done the live podcast together. We have had growth in our careers because, rather than just the individual SEO mindset and search with Canada stuff, we're able to collaborate together and do something bigger. Some of the sponsors we work with, shout out to the sponsors, people like Systrix and Majestic, who have worked with us from the absolute start, have worked with us in the past or not. And there's been a lovely kind of coming together of, oh yeah, this thing actually can make money now. This actually can be a viable part of our podcasting together, because, as exactly you said earlier, Sarah, like, Tazmin and I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. Like, and the fact, I know, Tazmin, you've talked about this before as well, like, having the ability to say yes to things is really important. And if you had told Tazmin from 5-10 years ago, you'd be doing a podcast with this random SEO guy from Norwich and Sarah, I'd be like, who, what, where, why would I be doing that? And again, it's the balance of the two. Right? Search with Canada is a much more SEO focused, not to say more technical, but more SEO focused kind of show. Whereas you guys, and hugely to your credit, and as what we try and continue with the live, is talk about those health and well-being and the personal development side of things as well. But that, as we're talking about, so integrally ties into your professional development as well. If you're not feeling in the right headspace, you might not go for that new job or that new promotion, or say yes to being on that podcast or collaborate with that person. Like, the fact that I didn't even have a second thought of like, yeah, of course I'll team up with you guys. That sounds great. I love Sarah. I love Tazmin. That sounds brilliant. Like, maybe I wouldn't have said that 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever it is. But being in that space now, being comfortable, again, my journey from previous experience in-house at a language school to the previous agency, now to Canada, and being much more of a public face of things, like people coming up to me and recognizing me at conferences and saying, how does it feel to be the face of Canada? I'm like, I'm not, but I am a face, I guess. Like, people recognize my voice and my face in a way, and that's a conscious decision, right? And I'm not saying I'm a celebrity. People like to tease me that I'm a celebrity, but the fact that we want to work together and do things together and grow together is something that helps us professionally as well as personally.
And also, I agree with all of those points as well, but it also allows me to spend time with people who are different from me,
Yeah.
who have a different life experience, or they're at a different point in their life to me. And I don't know what the word is. Enriching, like something that I'm very aware of is the more that you put yourself out there and you spend time with other people, yes, these exciting opportunities happen that we're talking about, and you find people that you vibe with, you find people who push you out of your comfort zone. But I find that I have really good conversations with people who are very different from me, because you get to ask them questions and understand their story, and you get to understand why they think the way they think, why they live their life the way that they live their life. And it's all about being respectful as well, being respectful of someone that's different from you.
I think there's so much merit in what you've just said, and every person that you meet, when you talk to them, they open up a window into another life, and it just makes your world bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's about then taking a step back, being reflective, saying, okay, what do I want? What's going to, be really intentional about, I want to get better at this, and that's going to help me. Or that person has shown me a different way of being, and actually I want to explore that. So yeah, reflection, intentionality, it's huge.
Huge. Right,
Huge.
gang. We could possibly carry on talking for another hour. But
hypothetically, maybe, possibly. So some sort of hypothetical extra hour on the 22nd of October in Brighton, Sarah, would you say? Potentially?
Whoa.
Potentially. So there's a reason we're doing this, right?
I know, right?
Anyway. So, reminder. Hopefully, after listening to this episode and listen to me, Jack and Tazmin talking about social health and the importance of your circle and who you've got in it, we have really enticed you to want to come along and continue this conversation. So if you want to do that, there are a couple of ways that you can join. So come in person, come to the live recording. So we're reminded that we're recording a podcast in front of a live audience, and it's free. And that is on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, the night before Brighton SEO projects the lanes. It's free. We also throw in food, drinks and snacks. And it's a wonderful evening where we're going to carry on this conversation. You'll get to meet other people before the conference, or just meet other people who are similar to you. Reminder that you can come if you're not attending Brighton SEO as well. If you're in Brighton, or you live in Brighton, or you just happen to be there, why not come on down? So if you want to do that, link in the show notes or around my face or wherever this is posted to get your tickets, because reminder, we do sell out. The last two events we have sold out and ended up creating a waiting list. So get your tickets now. Act now to avoid disappointment. If you can't join us on the night, it will be live streamed. So it will be live streamed to the Silicon Brighton YouTube channel. And yeah, so you can join that way.
And also on both of our podcast feeds as well. Since you're listening to this on SEO Mindset, subscribe now and you won't miss it when it comes out.
Yes. So the whole loveliness of it being recorded is that it's be recorded in person to then be played on both the SEO Mindset and the Search with Candor. So if you've not heard about Search with Candor, where have you been? Under a rock, maybe? We'll make sure that there's a link to Search with Candor, because it's a fabulous podcast that is hosted by our buddy Jack. So go and check that out. And yeah, I believe, is that everything, gang? Am I missing anything?
Sounds about right to me, mate. Like I said, go and check out a link in the show notes. Go and, if you haven't already subscribed to SEO Mindset, do, then you won't miss the one in October. Come and check out Search with Candor, because there will be the crossover there as well. So if you subscribe to both, you will definitely not miss it. And yeah, we're mostly on Spotify and YouTube and stuff, but obviously Both of our podcasts are available on all the different platforms. So wherever you're listening to this, you can also find Search with Candour. So it should be nice and easy for you.
Lovely stuff. Right. Jack, Tazmin, shall we say goodbye, take care of yourselves, and until next time?
Sounds good.
Goodbye, take care, and until next time. Bye.